Hello again. Welcome to our lesson for today, which is lesson 9.7 part 2 about inverse trigonometry. So when we are solving for a side length of a right triangle, we use let's change that. We use sine, cosine, tangent. And remember that was SOHCAHTOA that helped us find our ratios. Now, in this lesson, we will be solving for angles of right triangles. So when we solve for a measure of an angle of a right triangle, we use sine inverse, cosine inverse, and tangent inverse. And previously, we did do part of our lesson on inverses. Okay, so remember that the function and the inverse of a function, they cancel each other out when we solve for variables. So let's try example 1, and you'll see how it works. Okay, so we are looking for this angle, which we will label x. Now again, because we are using trig ratios, we want to label our sides. So opposite of x is 7, adjacent to x is 26, and the hypotenuse is up here. So our trig ratio that we use will be TOA because we have opposite and adjacent sides. So let's formulate that. Tan, and now our angle is x because that is what we want to find, equals 7 over 26, or opposite over adjacent. Now, because x is our input in the function tan, we have to use the inverse to cancel out that tan. So we use tan inverse on both sides. Tan inverse and tan cancel out. On the left side, we have x left over equals tan inverse of 7 over 26. And then we use our calculator to solve what that is. And we should get x equals 15 degrees. Now, because we're finding angles, we want to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, let's look at B. Now we're looking at this angle, which we will label x, and then we want to label the sides. 41 is opposite, 47 is hypotenuse, which means we will be using SO, right? Because we have opposite and hypotenuse. So sine of x is equal to opposite, which is 41, over hypotenuse, which is 47. Then to get x by itself, we have to use the sine inverse on both sides. On the left side, they cancel out. Then we have x equals sine inverse of 41 over 47. Then we use our calculator to solve that out. We should get x equals 61 degrees. Now, I would like you to try practice number 1 to find the missing angle of letter A. Okay, now hopefully everybody was able to get x equals 65 degrees. Now, if you are having trouble finding where the sine inverse or any of the inverse functions are located on your calculator or how to use them, you could come to office hours and ask me how to use them. Okay, let's try B. Hopefully everybody was able to get x equals 40 degrees. Now remember to round to the nearest whole number or the nearest degree. And make sure to label all your sides. Okay, that concludes our lesson for today. We'll see you next time.